Man, I cannot lose my job right now. I'm still paying off that painting I bought.
Back in the 2010s, Vaporwave was everywhere. You legit couldn't escape it. Pastel sunset, palm trees, Japanese text that none of us could read but pretended to anyways. It was all nostalgia for a bygone era that most of us weren't even a twinkle in our dad's eye, let alone a sperm cell. But hey, sometimes you want to go back to the simpler times, not to play the shitty games that suck ass, no, but to vibe and exist. So with Vaporwave eating the whole internet alive, Comedy Central decided, yeah, let's greenlit Moonbeam City, a show that looked aesthetically immaculate, but animated like someone's intern was editing a Fisher-Price laptop. But as a wise man once said,
who needs animation where writing can save your ass financially?
And boom, another forgotten gem that came and went after one season because the network advertised it for like a week, I think. I swear, I barely remember maybe one commercial, and I might have watched an episode. I don't know. It's been over a decade, which is a damn shame because from what I watched, the show was actually pretty damn good. To a degree. Right off the bat, the show doesn't hold back on its wacky immaturity, and I love it.
My name's Rat, and I like to bounce. This is the sound the bed makes when it's having sex. Ricky.
The characters fit the tone perfectly. The men are absolute disasters, and the women are forced to be stoic and competent because, you know, sexism demands balance. Dazzle is the overcompetent himbo who somehow takes zero damage from anything, and he looks and sounds exactly like V, so I guess V finally grew some balls.
Nero, it's me, V. I'm calling from a payphone right now.
I just wanted to say, I curse my stars in bitter grief and woe for that thing Griffin said about your wife.
You know he likes to joke, and I understand if you're still mad.
Then we got Rad Cunningham, and no, he's not the 9th grade ninja, no, he's a fraud! The pettiest, most insecure man alive, compensating by being as loud and braggadocious as possible.
If I can't be the hero, being a villain is the next best thing. At least villains are feared and respected, and not mistaken for sex offenders.
Oh, and he's Canadian, so he's automatically dead weight.
Bastard, call me dead weight!
The women, meanwhile, are the only ones with functioning brain cells. Pizzazz is the queen of girl boss, capable of summoning blinds at will for dramatic effect, and Chrysalis, the actual brains of the operation. She's the grommet to Dazzle's Wallace, except Dazzle may have charm, but he's got the mental horsepower of the average Instagram user. As stated previously, the whole show's tone is immaturity. Watching it with friends, it can be hit or miss. Sometimes the joke land, sometimes you're staring at the screen wondering why Rad is lying about being rich.
We'll get to that later.
But let's start things off with the first episode. It starts with Dazzle, acting like a big shot, can't aim, loses all his stuff, gets a lap dance, the usual cop workflow. But what really breaks him is Pizzazz taking away his #1 cop mug. And what's worse is that Rad now has his mug.
Rad Cunningham, King Dick of the Ass Forest. I see you've met my special lady. I've been using her for all kinds of things. Spitting tobacco, giving baths to my mice, storing my farts.
This is so sad. Alexa, play Despacito. And as a way to cope and vent, Dazzle immediately does what any emotionally unstable man in neon spandex would do. Sleep with a random woman connected to his case. Then because subtlety does not exist in Moonbeam City, he decides to become her manager. All because he wants to be the #1 manager cup. Yeah, you see what I mean when I say the show is immature? Like, aggressively immature. It's so shallow you can see the bottom. And honestly, I get why some people don't like it. The humor is such a hit or miss gamble. It's basically Russian roulette with glow sticks. But for some reason, I like it. It has that Archer style dry absurdity, even though I don't really like Archer like that. But this, I don't know, something about the neon stupidity just speaks to my soul. It's weird. Anyway, slight detour, but would you kindly like and subscribe? My goal is to hit 1,000 subs next year, so let's get this ball rolling because I'd like the algorithm to notice me for once. Alright, back to our regular scheduled nonsense. So our hero Dazzle is on top of the world, and Rad, being a hating ass little gremlin bitch, decides he wants to be the manager too. So he finds his own singer, whose name is... wait, what is it? That, and he does all that just so he can get the #1 manager mug. Petty behavior, disgusting, and absolutely hilarious. And somehow all of this circles back to drugs. because of course it does. And we also get a cat fight because fan service exists and Moonbeam City refuses to be subtle.
Pull my hair, I'll pull your hair, we'll struggle to the pavement at the cat fight.
Fuck you!
It's alright to jerk off to cartoons. The Japanese do it every day. So rub one out for the USA. The USA!
After all that nonsense, they finally remember they're cops and manage to arrest the criminal. But plot twist, the singers don't have visas, so they're gonna get deported. But Dazzle can save one of them if he marries her. Then the show pulls something rare for its time, a sort of after credits scene. Those little jokes that play while the credits scroll at like 100 miles per hour because nobody cares and reads them. And honestly, I respect that. That was the first episode, and it perfectly sets the tone for the whole series. Wacky, immature, straight-faced stupidity with characters who are petty, dramatic, shallow, and honestly very one-dimensional. But that simplicity actually works. It makes them malleable. You can drop them into any bizarre situation, and it just fits. Plus the colors, bright, but not my eyes are bleeding bright, just the right level of synthwave chaos. The animation's super limited, which makes sense because the whole focus is on the wild scenarios and the reactions of our heroes. But fun fact, the animation was actually done by Titmouse. Yes, that Titmouse. The studio with a giant repertoire like Super Jail, Megas XLR, Venture Brothers, Breadwinners, what the fuck? Beavis and Butthead, Ballmasters, hey look, I made a video on that. The Spider Ham short. Oh, and they're even working on Among Us. Whenever you see that little bird logo, you know it's gonna be of quality work. Anyway, rambling aside, we only got one season, so let's go through it episode by episode. Dazzle arrests some kid because he called him gay on Xbox and stole his lunch money, and being the petty cop, he arrests him. I don't know. And the moment is so heroic, he decides it needs to be a full feature-length film. His boss actually agrees with him, and then Dazzle burns through $50 million, the same way Verbalace burns through a one-man beatbox animation. So he has to get funding from some shady rich guy who agrees only if his Jonah Hill-looking son gets to be the star. So they shoot the movie in an active war zone. The director dips, and by dips I mean dies. Everything collapses, and it's up to Dazzle to save his narcissistic vanity project, while also getting fat in the process. It's weird. And of course, the movie ends up sucking. But then Rad gets his own movie about how he heroically saved a convenience store, except it was all a lie. Also, he's a copophiliac.
But there was so much poop in there, and I was so scared I pooped in the poop, and some of it got in my mouth. And I kinda liked it!
That's disgusting.
Next episode starts with Dazzle trying to solve a case, and there's this cop who's literally about to retire in an hour. And then he dies. Because of this incompetence, Pizzazz is beyond mad, as always, but Dazzle's too busy spurging over what he sincerely believes to be an epic-defining triumph of digital kineticism and animation so absurdly basic that its very existence feels like a cosmic prank. Yet he praises it with the feverish glass-eyed devotion of someone who thinks they're witnessing the rebirth of artistic consciousness itself. Man, that shit ain't deep. Turns out it's made by some postmodern artist, which makes sense. And Dazzle literally worships the ground he walks on because, you know, shallowness. But because of that, Dazzle hyperfixates it on it so hard that he doesn't even notice the twist. His killer is the hero. Moral of the story, never meet your heroes. But Dazzle, huffing high-end copium, makes up every excuse to defend the guy's action. Hey, that reminds me of someone. And in the end, Dazzle finally has to arrest him.
Still alive.
Never mind. Then we get an episode where it turns out Chrysalis' dad is literally Joe Swanson.
Hey everybody! Meg just had her first period!
Yes, I spent more time inside of explosions than out of them. My body is 90% torpedo shrapnel.
And we discover Dazzle shares one thing with Jotaro. They both want to have sex with dolphins. So they make a dolphin robot to do the deed and accidentally uncover an underground racing ring. But thanks to Joe here, the day is saved by dolphin penis. Wait, what?
Why are you all such children?
Honestly, that's the perfect summary of everyone here. They're dumb kids pretending to be professionals. Oh, and we meet the mayor who just casually has 2 leopards on him. He 100% would have become the big bad. You know, guys like that always do that. Anyway, we find out Dazzle killed a titty burger car, and as always, he's in deep trouble. But he still goes to this cop ball and meets another random lady, and once again, has sex with her. I mean, a wise man did once say,
Let's get some pussy tonight.
Then he marries her because that's apparently how Florida marriage law works. But surprise, surprise, the lady is actually Dazzle's sister, the daughter of a laser tycoon. And then we find out that her dad is dying and needs to sign his will before he croaks, but he's getting frozen and has hours left. And Dazzle lied! The subplot though is awkward, and god, I hate saying this word, cringy. Got it. Yeah, I can see why people might not like the series. When it's bad, it's really bad. But it turns out Dazzle has other sisters, and they want the family fortune too. And they also have cucked husband, voiced by Pleakley.
Don't listen to her, Dazzle. There's no shame in what we are, and the castration procedure is virtually painless.
Oh, and Hashwald's here. Wait, he's not gay here?
This changes everything.
Then another catfight happens.
Nanomachine, son!
But because of Dazzle's pure heart, I guess, she wins the family fortune, which is just a bunch of like record labels. But then she loses all the money, but who cares? She decides to be nicer to everyone.
You mother...
The next episode is actually relatable because it's the con episode, and I love cons. They go to CopCon and they tell the street gang not to commit crime until they come back. And tradition says Dazzle and Pizzazz must have sex here, so they do because reasons. While that's happening, Rad gets tired of gooning, so he wants to go, but he's banned because he didn't sub to Chrysalis' Twitch stream. So he said screw it and he'll make his own con.
Where's Blackjack? Blackjack!
Chrysalis then has a panel and it's full of Twitch watchers, so naturally they recreate the Emiru assault, but who cares? The lights go out and now it's a murder mystery, but we don't have time for that because prom is right here. Rad tries to stage a coup, but his coprophilia gets exposed, so Robocop ripoff and Chrysalis win, and we never find out who the killer was. Oh well. Oh, and remember that plot about the street gangs behaving while the cops were away? Yeah, they actually got their shit together until the cops came back and ruined it. They even had Adam Wee as a racist.
Remember, kids, try any and all of these stunts at home. It's the only way you're gonna learn.
But he gets instantly smoked by his rival, and suddenly it's up to Dazzle to avenge his absentee father in the most Moonbeam-coded way possible. Even when they capture the villain, they can't just arrest him, no. They have to have an epic racist race, and Dazzle wins. And then we get the prison episode, where Dazzle gets tossed behind bars and sexually harassed by the warden, only to fall in love with the prison system itself, like he just discovered the world's kinkiest HOA. Meanwhile, Rad gets stuck in VR chat and experienced the longest ERP session known to mankind, complete with fake children, a fake marriage, and fake emotional growth. Wait, 2 characters falling for AI in 2014? Wild foreshadowing. But even Dazzle realizes romance with the judicial system isn't sustainable, so the system itself helps him escape by burning the entire prison down. The warden goes MIA, which definitely feels like a setup for her becoming a recurring villain. But hey, at least his ChatGPT girlfriend survives, even though she vanishes in the next episode. Oh, and SpongeBob shows up.
Or Moonbeam City's exciting new express justice option, the Verdict Vortex.
He's a cool guy. Welcome back, everyone, to another Downward Day.
Hey, I think this is an upward night. You know, a downward day is followed by an upward night.
Indeed, fellas. It is apt, and for every down, there's always an up.
There's always what goes up must come down, and what goes down must come up.
Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. Have a lovely night.
Love this guy.
And then boom, the final episode is here. And it also feels like a setup for a season 2, because we finally learned something about Rad's backstory. Besides being annoying and Canadian, turns out he isn't rich at all. He's from a tiny family of malfunctioning gangsters whose entire left side doesn't work. And because Rad is a compulsive liar, he claims he has a girlfriend just to one-up Dazzle's Florida speed marriage wagon to that mobster lady, and uses his own sister as proof, which means they're now getting married. Incredible family values on display. So everyone's hyped for the wedding, held at this shady casino that's basically the Space Needle if it were won by the Yakuza. And speaking of Space Needle, if I play my cards right, I might actually get to go to that place soon. But Rad's family plans to rob the guests mid-vows. But before any crimes can properly cook, it comes out that Rad was about to marry his own sister.
What? Why didn't you tell me you were my sister, Talc?
Thankfully, Chrysalis swoops in to stop this Andy and Lele inbreeding by providing Rad isn't actually related to her, because Rad has a single oversized big toe, and apparently that means he's the lost heir to some wealthy family? So Rad was kidnapped as a child? This show decides to drop lore right now as the credits are warming up? Then we get one last insane Moonbeam shootout. Pizzazz finally uses her snake belt, and everyone gets shot in the shoulder, as required by law. And Rad, for the first time, grows a pair of balls and arrests his kidnappers, and the day is saved.
Also, I might have gotten that mob lady pregnant. Not sure. I've been avoiding her calls, so.
Sure, why not? And that's where it ends. No wrap up, no season 2, just raw, unrefined potential scattered everywhere like glitter after a failed art project. The finale is rushed but packed, and you can feel they were building towards something bigger that never came. Honestly, one more season would have turned this into a true cult classic, but even as is, Moonbeam City is the underrated neon fever dream that's genuinely good if you can handle the over-the-top nonsense and characters who are one bad decision away from collapsing the GDP. So yeah, give this show the cult following it deserves. It's messy, stupid, stylish, ridiculous, but also charming in a way only 80s vaporwave cop comedy parodies can be. Anyway, that's all for me. And with all that said, this has been Dino, and I honestly wish I could go back in time and be my dad in 1985. Also, my friend just told me that the creator also made the Sex Offender Shuffle.